Hello gamers, welcome back, or in case you are new here, I'm Nkaziel, and in this video I am going to talk about Where Winds Meet, a game that is just too good to be true. But it actually is. This game is what young me imagined games will be in the future, and while I have a lot of fun in many games, none of them come even remotely close to what this game offers. I have to give you a little warning, this game can also be dangerous, especially if you are similar to me. Personally, I find it very hard to enjoy something inferior after I experienced and enjoy something really good. Like, I cannot enjoy games with severely outdated graphics or functional elements, at least not more than a few hours. Where Winds Meet raises the bar for how an open-world exploration game with MMO elements should be and should play, that I have no doubt in my mind that I will find it hard to enjoy a lot of similar games. Just like how Baldur's 3 raised the bar for a lot of people, or for me personally how Black Desert raised the bar for sandbox MMOs, in terms of combat and graphics, I'm sure this game will raise that bar again. You might not be like me, and games might not have the same effect on you, but if you are, this was your warning. Also, maybe just like me, because of real life or because of other games you are not aware of Where Winds Meet. It might come as a massive and very pleasant surprise as it is releasing on the 14th of November, just under a week from now. Personally, I am so happy I haven't learned about it until now, because waiting for this game would have killed my appetite for other games. I know I'm glazing the game, but I am unbelievably excited, and maybe you too will be after you hear what I have to say. So let's start with the very basics of what is Where Winds Meet, since this seems to be a fairly misunderstood subject online, and you will soon see why. Thematically, this game is the embodiment of wuxia, which is a genre of Chinese fiction featuring martial artists with supernatural abilities in ancient China. Wuxia literally means martial chivalry, so it will feature themes like honor, loyalty, revenge, romance, and hard moral choices. The wuxia element will bleed into everything this game is, and these themes are integrated even in the game mechanics. That being said, functionally speaking, it is a live service game that offers a sandbox, immersive open world to explore and progress through, and more importantly, for those of us that love MMORPGs, it has a vast amount of MMO elements. I know that sounds confusing, but I will explain further. There are two major modes that you will be able to freely swap between at almost any time. One of them is the co-op and solo mode, and the other one is the MMO mode. So for the sake of brevity, let's call them exploration mode and MMO mode. Both of these modes share the same exact world, but they serve completely different functional purposes. In exploration mode, you can either be solo or invite up to 3 friends. Here you will do your main quest, side content, open world exploration, basically fully immerse yourself in the world, just like you would in an action-adventure open world exploration game. A big misunderstanding is that this is a single-player mode. It is not. It requires a constant internet connection. It just allows you to play in your own instance, and that is why I call it solo and not single-player. By contrast, MMO mode is for social and MMO activities, which I will get to in a second. The reason for this is self-explanatory. It has been done to offer a consistent, high-quality experience equally as good as a single-player game would offer. Realistically speaking, MMORPGs are not that immersive. It's not immersive to have hundreds of people do the same exact quest as you and having to wait around for mobs to spawn. But at the same time, the developers clearly wanted to provide an MMO social world for those interested. This method is the solution the developers came up with, and it seems to do a good job. To better understand all this, we should talk about the content you can experience in-game. As I briefly mentioned earlier, there will be an immersive main quest, and I mean it. They use motion capture for cutscenes and animations, so it will be a pleasure to experience for those interested. For content outside the main quest, the game emphasizes complete freedom, so many elements of the game will have multiple solutions. There's also something to do everywhere you look. There are a lot of secrets and an incredible amount of exploration to do, but the game gives you complete freedom to do things your way. For example, there are different martial arts schools in this world that provide their own martial arts for the players to use. You can join a school, do activities, gain rank, even get a master to teach you. Or you could use various methods to steal the martial arts you desire. Both of these approaches have different requirements and different consequences. Speaking about consequences, the game also has a crime system, and you can choose to do crime, such as pickpocketing or even murdering NPCs. If other NPCs spot you doing so, they might report you to the guards, and if they do, a bounty will be placed on your head. Do enough crimes, and you will have bounty hunters after you, which can even be players. Once captured, you go to prison or to a labor camp and you have to serve your sentence. And these sentences can range from a few minutes to even months, in the most extreme cases. There are of course ways to reduce this sentence, such as being paraded through town for NPCs and other players to throw vegetables at, or having people break you out of prison. You can even hire another player to be your lawyer and argue on your behalf, which, if successful, can reduce or remove your bounty. This world is full of elements like this that are very in-depth and very well built. Another very cool element of this world is that there are a lot of NPCs that are named NPCs, maybe most of them, and you can freely communicate with these NPCs, just like you would with Grok or ChatGPT. You can build relationships, both good and bad, with them, and there are different outcomes. These NPCs aren't just chatbots, they have different things they prefer to do, moral dispositions. There are even quests that you can only pick from them during certain times and when they are doing certain activities. There is a lot here for you to explore, and I mean it. There is a city with over 10,000 NPCs doing over 1,000 different activities. As I mentioned previously, there are also a wide amount of MMO elements, the vast majority of which will take place in the MMO mode. You will have social activities such as minigames, events, world bosses, 5-man dungeons, 10-man raids, and even jobs like medic, lawyer, and many others. You can even get married in-game, and there is a master-apprentice system as well. This game has something called kinships, which is basically this game's version of family. These are not just things in a list with a progress bar. It has functional elements, like organizing a jailbreak when one of you gets sent to jail. There are different types of guilds based on what you prefer to do, be it PvP, life skilling, or PvE. Then there are also sects, which are basically pre-made factions that have certain requirements that must be kept up with on a regular basis. For example, if you want to join the beggar sect, you have to pickpocket a certain amount of times a week. While these are pre-made organizations, they are entirely player-run, so you can gain ranks and run a campaign to be elected as sect leader, which comes with its own perks. The more I looked into what activities this game has to offer, the more amazing it felt. Sometimes it feels like game developers have a list of things that they want to add to their game, and they just go checking things off that list without any thought about how it fits into their game. Well, in Where Winds Meet, it's the exact opposite. It's like they went through a list of things they wanted in the game, and they thought about how every single one of them fits into this world. Don't get me wrong, there is always room for improvement, but it is a fundamentally different way to look at development, and it is very refreshing to see. Anyway, back to the topic. For those of you interested in PvP, there will be the previous mentioned bounty hunt mechanic, where you can become a bounty hunter and hunt criminals, or if you are a criminal, you have to defend yourself against both players and NPC bounty hunters. But there are also duels, ranked 1v1, 2v2, 5v5 arenas, 30 vs 30 and 50 vs 50 guild wars. There is even a 60-player battle royale mode. Some of those will have equalized stats, so those with more skill will win. But not all. There are modes where gear matters. There is a lot of things for everyone, regardless if you prefer social and life skilling, PvE or PvP activities. I know people that have no interest in PvP might ask if there is any forced PvP. Theoretically, yes, but in reality, not really. People can put bounties on your head by paying in-game currency. There are ways to avoid it, and of course, for the vast majority of people, this will never be a concern as they will not get targeted. So this is not something you should worry about if you are not interested in PvP. There's a lot more depth to this world than I can put into words. Like the fact that every single building you can see can be entered. These are not just game props. If you cast a fire ability in a field, it will start burning the grass. However, I do believe in the joy of exploration. Discovering things for yourself has a certain magic to it. I am just sharing enough to hopefully give you a good idea of what to expect, and the rest we can explore for ourselves when the game comes out. This world and content is enabled by gameplay, and the most important element of gameplay is combat, at the very least to the vast majority of us. And the game divides this into 3 functional elements: martial arts, inner arts, and mystic arts. Martial arts are tied to specific weapons, and each of them come with a few abilities. This will include basic attack chains, heavy attack, dodge, block or parry, and few active abilities. These are vastly different based on the martial arts you choose. This can be simple ones like lunge, but can also be more complex one like summoning a pet rat to assist you in combat. You can mix and match 2 different martial arts freely, of course if you know the martial arts. At release, there will be 7 weapon types: sword, spear, dual blades, glaive, fan, umbrella, and rope dart. However, each of these weapon types can have different martial arts, which will make them play and feel different. That might sound confusing, but what I am trying to explain is that, for example, the umbrella has a martial art that heals, but also has a martial art that can be used to deal damage, and you might enjoy one of them, but not the other. Like in other games, both a healer and a mage might be using the staff to do their magic, but they play completely different. And before you ask, yes, you can use 2 different martial arts that use the same weapon. Also, I should mention that there is a loose trinity system in-game. This means that there are martial arts more fit for tanking and ones that heal, and they will be loosely required for multiplayer content, like in Blade and Soul for example. Next, we have inner arts. They are passives that activate during combat or in certain situations. Pretty self-explanatory. The last one is mystic arts. These are basically fantasy abilities. They can be combat ones, and they will supplement your combat abilities on rotations, like grappling enemies, energy shields, or breathing fire. But they can also be utility, mobility, and mystic arts that help you with world exploration, like the ability to leap through air, or a mystic art that shrinks your character, allowing you to fit through small gaps. There are also parkour abilities, like you can run up walls, or rocks, or trees, you know, double jumps, stuff like that. Of course, there is more to gameplay, from the ability to gather stuff, to fishing, playing music, or as I mentioned previously, being a medic that cures internal injuries, or diseases, or even a lawyer. A lot of ways to explore this world and play the way you want. Another aspect that I almost forgot is housing. Yes, this game has housing. You can even be an architect and design blueprints for other people. In exploration mode, you can build almost anywhere you want and whatever you want, as long as you have materials. It is extremely deep with very few limitations, meaning that those interested in building something truly amazing will be able to do so. There are also guild bases that are instanced, and even some player-owned instances, like a very hard-to-get boat that people can invite up to 100 people on. In the Chinese version, it's also possible to open up a restaurant or a farm and hire NPCs. I believe this will not be available immediately at launch on our servers, but it will be at some point, so another element with a lot of thought put into it. One of the last things that I should touch on is the character creator and customization. It's very in-depth and it allows for customizing every little detail, and if you like to make a detailed character, you could spend hours upon hours customizing yours, with the exception of body sliders, which are a very few. But personally, I'm pretty tired of complaining about this aspect. If even a game as amazing as this cannot be bothered to offer us a wide variety of body sliders, there's very little hope we will ever get it in other games. It's a shame, but it is what it is. A very small negative element in an ocean of positive ones, so it doesn't matter much. There are two concerns that I have seen people have, and this is the last thing I will talk about. The first one, is this a mobile game? The answer is a strong no. This is a full-fledged PC game. It has been ported over to console and mobile, and the devs have created user interfaces to support those platforms. This is in my opinion the right way to do cross-platform games, and regardless if you agree or not, it is a good thing, because not everyone has the right circumstances to have a PC. Developers spending some resources to service gamers on other platforms, it is a net positive for us as gamers overall. I know historically speaking, devs design games for mobile and then port them to PC, which ends up with awful results, but it is absolutely not the case here. The next justifiable concern is pay to win and gacha. With a game as incredible as this, I personally expected it to have the worst monetization possible, something like World of Warcraft or something similar. However, surprisingly enough, it does not. The game is free to play, all future updates will be free, and there is very little pay to win, and even the most autistic gamers will agree with that. The game will have a battle pass that gives a little bit of energy, which allows for people that purchase it to do a few more dungeon runs, but that's about it. Everything else is 100% cosmetic, including the gacha. The battle pass and cosmetics are how this game intends to make their money, and it has been a major success in the East. I would like to add, if you end up enjoying the game and want to see more of this monetization model, remember to vote with your money, not only your time. Both of them are equally important. This is an absolutely amazing game. However, for me the most important and amazing aspect is that this game is a live service game, meaning that we can expect more and more content to be added with the passing of time. And not only do I look forward to explore every little bit of this world, but I cannot wait to see what other crazy stuff these developers come up with, so I hope to see you guys in game. Anyway, if you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe, and let me know what you think about where winds meet. Or don't. See you in the next one, gamers.